Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I'm sitting down with Charles Milligan, who is the owner operator of the Fieldhouse at the Crossover. So excited to be jumping in, having some conversation on what is now a freezing cold Monday afternoon. So, Charles, just thank you for taking some time. Excited to dive into some conversation here. Why don't we just start with a little bit of background? Tell us a little bit about who you are and tell us about the Fieldhouse.
Uh, I'm one of three partners here at the Field House. I'm married, have three kids. We've been open here at the Field House for a little bit over 2 years. It's a really neat concept just because everything that it involves with, but it's awesome because its proximity to my house is much closer than my restaurant in South Austin. So it's a great little easy trip for me. But it's just a phenomenal space and a great facility.
Amazing. And for those that are like totally unaware of this amazing, cool place that you've got, tell us a little bit more about what all is in does the field house entail? If we were to walk in, kind of what do we see? What's the experience? Tell us a little bit more about kind of the depth of what you all do.
Absolutely. So the field house is located at the crossover, and the crossover is just this massive sports complex and very health driven complex. But we're just a small part of it. But we have an indoor and outside bar, an indoor lounge. We'll start with the inside. So there's a small gaming center that can be visited by families and younger kids. There's an inside bar and lounge that's set up to be 21 and up. And then there's also a private, we call it a PDR room, private dining room, or private business conference room that can hold up to 30 people and all. And that's all inside. And then when you step outside, it's really different. We have an outside bar as well, but then we also offer sand volleyball. We offer pickleball courts. And then we have two humongous, they call them beer garden tents or permanent tents that we can host events in as well. And they're aligned on both sides of this massive stage, uh, which is around 4,000 square feet, and it's covered. So we can host events and concerts and stuff like that. And typically March, April, and May is our big months, and then September, October, and November. On the stage that's covered, we have a 22-inch flat, 22-foot flat screen TV. And then we also have tons of TVs inside and outside for the sports enthusiasts. We also have this area that we call the pergola area that has built-in fireplaces so people can sit around on patio furniture around it. And then there's also side areas on each side between the pickleball courts and the sand volleyball court that we host cornhole tournaments. So there's plenty of outdoor space. And again, we're just a small part of this massive complex, which is called the crossover.
That's so cool. And for those that have not been over to just the crossover in general, highly encourage it. It's such a cool space. Yeah, you're not kidding when it's just looking at all the stuff outside and inside and everything. It's really cool to see. Let's dive in, maybe take a step back. I want to learn a little bit more about kind of you and your role within the business and some of the experience that you've gained, over building this. And I think I heard you mention you've got a restaurant in South Austin. So a little bit of additional business experience there. But when it comes to the field house, tell me a little bit more about kind of your role within the company or the role within the business. You mentioned owner operator. What does that look like? How many different hats do you wear on a daily basis when it comes to running the business?
Uh, just I'm very on hands. I do have a general manager. Thomas does a phenomenal job. I was actually brought in after the concept was already open, probably about 6 months or about 8 months into it. I was brought into it. I was originally going to be a part of it, and just the timing didn't match up at the time. And then one of the partners is a good personal friend of mine, Matt Lucky, reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, I know you live in that area. You know the demographics. You know the people up there. Could you come in and help out and do kind of what I was originally going to do?" And the timing was perfect then, so I told them absolutely. So I just come in and just help oversee the managers. We can do so many different events and parties inside and outside, team building and stuff like that. So just sit down with the managers and just go over on how we can recruit people to come in and throw those type of events here, and then also go over the what type of alcohol program we want to do. One other thing I forgot to mention about the crossover, I mean, excuse me, about the field house is we also have 6 food trucks out there. So it kind of gives people kind of like a food truck vibe. So those are open at noon. So we have a lot of people because we're surrounded by a bunch of business complexes. We have a lot of people come here and just kind of have a quick little lunch as well. But my role is just as an operator, just manage the daily tasks with those, and some of them, will come up different each day, but just oversee the inventory and just really manage the managers that are already doing a good job here.
Very cool. I love that. Um, so you mentioned having a couple business partners. I always like to just kind of dive into that where possible and just glean some knowledge or some wisdom from it. Um, how do y'all like interact as business partners? From decision making abilities and things like that. Have you found tips and tricks to make it very simple so y'all are on the same page and aligned? Do you find some frustration when one person thinks one thing and the next person thinks something different? What have you found to work and potentially not work within business relationships?
Well, I'm very fortunate because I actually get along with both partners, and they each bring something a little more to the table. I have one of the partners has been a personal friend of mine for 30 years, so it goes a little bit deeper than a partnership. So I think the respect factor is there, and also the candid, just be flat candid with each other. But fortunate, been with these guys for a little bit over 2 years now, and never really had a problem. If there's something that comes up and there's, let's say, there's something that we need to do that might cost a certain amount of money, before I decide to make that decision, I'll ask them, what do you think? Is it worth spending this much money on this? And we come to a conclusion. We've never had to vote on anything. We either all disagree. I mean, we all agree or disagree, and it's worked out fine.
That's fantastic. I love to hear, good relationships like that. I know I've heard some relationships in the past that have not gone as smooth as some of those out there, so it's always good to kind of hear the positive ones. I'm curious if we could shift a little bit to let's say marketing as a generalized topic. I love asking a few questions around marketing. It's one of those areas that frankly every business out there needs to know how to do in some capacity, but isn't always the easiest one to kind of wrap their hands around. But what have you all found to be kind of the philosophy or things that have worked, or maybe some things that haven't worked along the way, and just kind of getting the word out there about what y'all do?
It's this location is a little different because it's unlike anything else we've ever done, just because of the size and what we offer and what all entails. So again, because we're located in this big, massive complex, I mean, everyone's responsible for their own marketing, and it should be. But we're fortunate because the landlord and the property management here really helps these other tenants in here. So we do a group advertising. They'll help us push our ideas or our events here when it comes to them. They have massive televisions up and down the major hallways here and major signs on the outside. So they'll advertise events here. That kind of touches to people that are all the foot traffic that come in here, and because there's so many big other businesses here that attract, move the dance, the ice skating rink, the soccer fields, and all that. There's plenty of foot traffic, so we get our messages out on that. But we do a lot of social media. I'm not me personally. I'm not a big. I guess maybe I'm just a little older, so it's just not my thing. Now my wife and kids can tell you everything about social media, but we have a young lady named Jordan that works for us who does an incredible job with social media and gets a lot of our advertisement out. And we have all the platforms, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, and all. That's how we do the social media. And I would say majority of our advertising. But my partner, Matt Lucky, who's real big about grassroots and just really setting up the idea of just going off of relationships. We hit every single restaurant, every single major office constantly up and down the toll road here, up and down all the side. We'll walk in, give them gift cards, introduce ourselves to them, because every business has such a huge turnover that even if you visit once, if you go back in 3 months, probably the receptionist at the front might be different. The bartender behind the bar at the restaurant you visited might be different. So we constantly go in there, and then we'll have one of our managers go in there. If not, we give some to our staff. So when they're off, uh, they'll leave gift cards and say, hey, come and visit me. And we've seen it. It's taken a little bit of time, just because if you look at a lot of the places downtown, the restaurants or the entertainment area, a lot of things are in walking distance. So if a group gets off from a restaurant or a bar or a business downtown, they can easily walk to the location. Here, because we're kind of off the beaten path a little bit, it takes a little bit more. So you got to hope those people jump in that car and drive when they get off work. And then we hope that our bartenders and our staff will take it from there and give them the hometown feel and talk to them and just make them become good regulars and just good friends. And that's what we try to do quite a bit, is just constantly. And there's so many. I mean, Cedar Park, Leander has grown so much. It's no longer Bubbaville. There's a lot of high tech up here. There's a lot of retail up here. So we just constantly walk in and just kind of introduce ourselves, and it's worked pretty well.
That's fantastic. I absolutely love it, and especially for, I guess, the industry that you're in. I think that that's, something that's often overlooked when it comes to marketing strategies. Actually, just getting out there, having some FaceTime, providing a something of value that someone can come in and experience it, and then providing an amazing service that they want to tell other people and they want to come back again. Um, Truly amazing. So I appreciate you kind of walking through that. So where do things go from here? I like to kind of ask that question about when you just like look out for the next 3 to 5 years. What does this business look like to you in the next 3 to 5 years? How do you see maybe your role within the business changing? But kind of project out for us, like what does this look like as you look forward to the next 3 to 5 years?
I think we've learned a lot over the last 2 years. We've changed a little. Well, we changed quite a bit of the business model on who we were trying to gear up to. Uh, we just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a sports area and kind of like a little local bar hangout. But it's such a large place, and we have such great infrastructure here, so we can host big events and big concerts and just all kinds of things outside because of the stage, because of the big massive covered tent areas and the big lawn that we have. So I think this could possibly become more of a big entertainment venue. And with the support of the landlord and some of the other tenants here, uh, it's starting to move that way, probably a little faster than we thought, which is great. Uh, Come May, we have a lot of big events going on. We teamed up with a comedy group, and they're out of LA, and they're going to be holding a huge LA comedy show here. They just got written up in LA Times. So big events like this that'll attract anywhere on the low end from 500 up to a couple thousand. So I think that's where we feel like our outdoor space can head and just become a big entertainment area. And again, with the HEB Center across the street from us, there's so many events there that when people are done over there, for instance, you have the Dallas Stars minor league hockey team. So when they're done, the Texas Stars, you'll see a lot of people from that venue come over here because it's literally right across the street, and you have the ice hockey, and we can show pregame, postgame, and stuff like that. But I think going after the bigger crowds, more the number game, the more getting more butts in here is what we're trying to do.
Mm. And yeah, because you're in the role that you are in, and seeing some potential growth in the business, especially from an event standpoint, having a lot of folks there. I want to ask just a few questions around team building, being able to manage people effectively, that sort of thing, especially uh, when it comes to ensuring that your team provides an amazing experience for the customers, that sort of thing. Um, Maybe let's start with kind of leadership style. How would you describe your leadership style, and has it changed over the last handful of years?
I wouldn't say change as much. I mean, I do use technology obviously because of Zoom since COVID. So we'll meet occasionally that way. But we do try to sit down. If it's more the kind of the off season type, maybe during the winter, we're unable to throw the bigger events outside. We'll hold management meetings every 2 weeks. But now that we're starting to gear up for our managers meetings or big events, we'll sit down 1 or 2 times a week, the management, sometimes myself and the GM only. And then we'll always sit down with the other managers just to kind of go over everything that's going on. but I try to, since I'm very hands on, I try to just lead by example and manage by example. I also manage verbally by a little sarcasm here and there, but and then they pick it up. Uh, but it's worked for me all my life, and I'll continue to do it that way.
That's fantastic. How do you attract and retain great team members? Kind of what's been your approach, your team's approach to bringing on the right team members or the right seats in the right or the right people in the right seats, that sort of thing.
Well, when it comes to management up here, I was lucky to walk into it because my partners already had the management already set up, and uh, and there wasn't any need for any change. So it was very fortunate and very lucky to have it. Thomas, our general manager, comes from a huge corporate background, big entertainment, uh, Top Golf. Chris Sheldon, who's our other AGM, incredible manager. He's real big into the live music, and he's done a lot of worked for a lot of facilities that have thrown big events. So it was a perfect pairing between them two. And then between Keith and Reza, we're just fortunate that we have just very personable people when it comes to be more of on the floor. So I'm just fortunate when it comes to this. With our restaurant in South, my restaurant in South Austin, I'm very fortunate because this general manager I've had, she's worked with me for almost 20 years, and the management of all work. I think because it's not to use the word fair, because I think I'm beyond fair, but we understand, and if they have family, we understand that family comes first. So if they need to take a few extra days off, they can, and we're not gonna dock them or anything like that. I think they know we're lenient when it comes for their time needed away, and we don't abuse them when it comes to the workload. They know that if there's events going on, they're going to have to work extra, and when there's not, if they need it, if they want to take an extra day off, they can. It's no big deal. But I just think we're very open and we lead by examples, and we're more than just fair. And I think we communicate really well. And as long as you communicate well, I think you're fine. And I
Very
think as
cool.
long as you let everybody know where they're at and how they're doing, and point the good and point the bad out, I think it just keeps everybody on the same page, so they're not ever surprised.
I like that. That's a really cool approach. Um, I'm curious when you look at kind of the team that you have, is there any skills or kind of areas of training that you feel is going to be probably most impactful for your team over the next 6 to 12 months as you continue to grow the business and just kind of other things that are out there potentially? Any areas of kind of training or skill development that you think that you believe are important for your team as you continue to grow?
I think we're all going to learn once we throw some more of these larger events on, maybe how we can help the customers have a better experience. And I'm not, I've thrown decent sized events, but not to the massive scale that some of these bands that are going to be coming in here, or some of the entertainment that'll be coming in here. But I think we'll learn together as a team. I think we all have an idea of what we would want to uh, offer to the customers, but I think we'll find out. Luckily, my partner Matt does a lot with ACL and Lollapalooza and some other of the big things, so we'll lean on his expertise to help out. And same thing with Kevin. But I think we'll just end up growing as as we look to the future on what we want to become. I think our management style might change a little bit, or just because of how grand this thing can be.
Hmm. That's cool. It's cool that you can kind of see some of that as you go and start to kind of plan for it ahead of time. But we've certainly covered a lot of ground in our conversation. I want to be respectful of the time that we have here today. So I'm going to shift us over to a few, we'll say, rapid fire questions. Kind of pull out some wisdom nuggets for the audience out there. But when you look at your journey through kind of business, through life, through everything that you've kind of accomplished so far, what would you say for you has been your key to success?
I guess honestly, just I've been fortunate with the support, whether it's family or friends. And I mean, we've all had our ups and downs, but I think I've just been a very supportive family, which is huge. Because not every concept has been a home run or worked out, and when you go home, you try not to bring back to the house, and I'm fortunate because I have a great wife and great kids that support it. But I've been very fortunate to work my partners here and then my partners in the restaurant, just really good people. And I think if you surround yourself with good people, and that's even including staff, I think it makes things a lot easier for you.
Mm, so powerful. If you could leave just one piece of advice for other business owners out there, what piece of advice would you want to give them?
Ooh, be careful what you wish for. uh, I don't, I mean, it's true, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm honest at a fault at times, I don't know. That's a really hard one. I think even if my kids ask me, I don't know if I could give them a definite answer right now. I think it really all depends on what's going on at the time. Maybe my advice might change or my opinion might change, but I don't want to come across cheesy. But I mean, I'm very honest and very upfront, and I think it's worked for me.
Mhm.
And maybe it hasn't, and I haven't realized it, but uh, I got a good life. I got a good family. I got good partnerships. I got good businesses. Uh, you know, uh, could I ask for more? Sure, but am I content and happy? Absolutely. But I don't know. Just be true and be honest. That's it.
I like it.
Because again, what comes around goes around. It'll bite you on your ass before you know it.
That's so true. How about book recommendations? Any books that come to mind that you would recommend to the audience, or if there isn't one that comes to mind, usually I'll frame it up with, a book that you're either currently reading or something that you've read recently. It does not have to be a business book, but anything like that that you could recommend to the audience.
No, because I'm be honest with you, I'm not a big reader. It was not my strength in school and high school, college, and all. I'm not a big reader.
Podcasts, into any podcasts or YouTubers or anything that it doesn't have to be book, and be anything that you kind of consume for fun learning or education or anything like that. Maybe a show that's intriguing to you. Leave it up to you, but something that you can recommend. Anything that they can kind of consume and have some fun with.
I mean, the Echelon Group, those guys, Jocko and those guys. I've read their. Just totally one blank on the book, which I liked. I went to their little powwow get together that was held at Barton Creek Country Club. But no, I'm just not a big reader. I mean, I'll get all the articles that get sent to me on the online through the restaurants or the bar publications, and I'll read those. But for say a book, it's just not. I'm just not. That just does not. I'm not a big reader. Sorry about that. I might be one of the, maybe an owner or manager who might come on this show for the first time that says I'm just not a big reader. And the podcasts that I listen to are mostly sports, because that's
Mhm.
what, when I'm in my car driving, that's what I want to. I just want to get away from everything and just listen to sports and just what entertains me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna take this moment to like pause for those that are watching, and it's totally cool to like not be a big reader and all of that kind of stuff. And that's why I like to kind of ask the question the way that I do. And I kind of hope I get some folks who are like, I just don't do much. This is what I listen to. This is what I consume. And it's sports stuff and different things like that. And it's fantastic because, not there will be folks out there that'll listen to this and go, yeah, that's kind of me too. I don't like to read a whole lot or I don't have time to do that, but here's the thing that I enjoy and that's okay because I can see others that also do that. So I greatly appreciate the candor on that. One more rapid fire question before we get to kind of our final ending one of the day. Um, this one's just kind of fun. If you look at the business today, and you could take a little bit of magic dust and you could put it over just one area in the business. You only get to choose one. And you'll wake up tomorrow, it's 10 times better than it is today. Where would you choose to put that magic dust?
On this concept, that magic dust, I would put I'd put that magic dust on giving us more outdoor, weatherproofed, conducive areas. So no matter what the weather conditions are, it wouldn't interfere with what we have going on. And only because we have such a huge outdoor area, which is great during the spring. But on a day like this, no one's going to be out there, But now inside, we'll be busy for the games and stuff like that. but that's why we've already done some stuff here. We have improved it, but I'd put a big old glass dome over this place so you could it's still have that outdoor environment, but we'll be protected from the elements.
I love that. And I would totally take that today when it's, 20 some degrees outside here in
So do
Central
I.
Texas. No kidding. So for those that are watching that want to either connect with you, they want to learn more about the business, they want to come visit y'all and check it out, where can we advise them to go for more information? And if they haven't, make their first trip in and check it out.
Well, they can check our website out at thefieldhousetexas.com, or they can email me at charles@thefieldhousetexas.com.
Perfect. I will be sure to put both those in the video description below. So as we wrap up here today, for those that are watching, make sure you go click the links, check it all out. And if you're in the area, please stop by, visit. Truly a cool place to go check out. So as we wrap up, I always like to end on one final question. And Charles, this is the final question for the day. What is most inspiring to you today?
Today, today specifically, or today going maybe into tomorrow? I don't know. What's inspiring
I'll
me?
let you answer it however you want to.
Good one. Well, that I know tomorrow is going to be a little warmer and sunnier than it is today. I know that. Uh, Now, what's inspiring for me today is that I know that we have so much going on coming up in the next couple months that I'm really excited for. And that's truly what I'm working. That's why I'm up here now working on some stuff. But just knowing that there's going to be so much going on, and it's just when you're busy, it just brings a whole different level of energy to the staff and to the managers. And heck, we're already more than halfway through June almost. I mean January. So before you know it, the 1st of March will be here, and we'll be happier than hell.
Amazing. I love it. Well, Charles, I want to say thank you again for taking the time. This has been a pleasure to just kind of dive in, learn a little bit more, ask you some fun questions, and I just got to say thank you for sharing what you have here today. It's been truly a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for having me.